The Miami Grand Prix was slightly more eventful than the previous race out in Baku. With plenty to discuss from the first Grand Prix in the USA this year, let's take a look at the winners and losers from the weekend. Our first winner happens to be the driver that also won the Grand Prix, Max Verstappen, but it's more than just this that makes him a winner. After a less than ideal qualifying on Saturday as Charles Leclerc's crash meant he was unable to set a final time in Q3, Max found himself starting from P9 on the grid. From here, he made some impressive overtakes, including a double one on Kevin Magnussen and Charles Leclerc, but also managed to make an alternate hard-medium strategy work. He extended his middle stint and even managed to eat into the gap between himself and Checo in P1, so that when he came into pit for mediums, he was close enough to overtake his teammates. This, and of course his overall victory, that made Max a winner in Miami. Our first loser from Miami is McLaren as a team. After a pretty poor weekend from the constructor, qualifying set them up for their race performance, as both drivers failed to make it out of Q1. Lando Norris picked up damage from a collision with Nick de Vries on the first lap of the Grand Prix, and Oscar Piastri suffered a brake-by-wire issue throughout the race, and the team ended the day in P17 and P19, making Miami a weekend they'll want to forget. On the other hand, Haas, and particularly Kevin Magnussen, won out in Miami after an amazing qualifying performance from the Danish driver, albeit helped by Leclerc bringing out the red flag, but even without this, Kevin made it into Q3 on pure pace. It seemed the team had unlocked something special at their first home race of the season, and they ended the weekend with Kevin in P10, picking up a point for their effort. And finally, Nick de Vries continued his apparent struggle so far in F1 this weekend, and his time in Miami was a big loss for the team. His first lap incident with Lando Norris seemed to arise as he braked too late into turn 1, perhaps indicating that he's struggling to drive the AlphaTauri AT04. While he's had some poor finishes this far, the fact that his teammate Yuki Tsunoda has stepped up to produce consistent and point-receiving performances may be amplifying Nick's difficulties. Let's see how he gets on in Imola and for the rest of the season. So there we have it. It was a weekend of mixed fortunes out in Miami across the grid. Who are your winners and losers? Let us know in the comments, like the video, and make sure to subscribe to Apex for the latest in the F1 world.